Hello and welcome to the stream. I'm Adam Coble. It's the same thing I was yesterday, same thing I'm going to be tomorrow. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be doing something special this time around, though. This is no mere stream. We're going to take a look at a brand new Dungeons and Dragons book. We're going to take a look at Eberron, Rising from the Last War, well in advance of its release. I'm super excited. Now, a lot of the material in this book is going to be setting stuff, I think. I imagine we're going to get the Warforged, we're going to get Changelings, we're going to get Kalashtar. We're going to get an Artificer class. We might get some new subclasses, but essentially I'm going to be looking at this in terms of basically my high watermark for setting books is the Ravnica book, right? That Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. Eberron, if you want to be as good, that's where you gotta get up to. You gotta be as good as that Ravnica book. So probably there'll be an adventure. Probably there'll be some monsters. I want to see mechanically how Wizards of the Coast has tailored Dungeons and Dragons to fit the world of Eberron, right? Because a campaign setting book that just contains maps and fluff, get it out of here. Throw it out the window. I don't want it. It's got to contain mechanisms that make playing core Dungeons and Dragons feel different, right? I want tables. I want backgrounds. I want actionable stuff, right? Now, it'll be interesting because this book is a follow-up on a bunch of Unearthed Arcana. It's a follow-up on a bunch of stuff from the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, I think. So I'm curious to see, because this feels kind of like why did they do the Wayfinder's Guide if they were going to make this book? Or did the Wayfinder's Guide succeed so dramatically that they felt like they needed to publish a full setting book? And if so, is it sufficiently different from the Wayfinder's Guide to warrant purchasing? These are questions and more that I am excited about learning the answer to. So we're going to be looking at the Roll20 Marketplace version, which means tokens, maps, tables, all the dynamic lighting you can shake a stick at, etc. So what I'm going to try to do is go through the book in a linear fashion, more or less. I'm going to go through these as best I can and do it that way as if I were looking at this for the first time, because I am. And then I'm going to hopefully answer any questions that you might have about the book or anything that might be in it. So give me an opportunity to wander around in the book a little bit in the Marketplace version, and then we will attend to whatever might be different when we get to the end. So let's take a look. Now, Eberron is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign setting, which I believe first came out in the third edition of Dungeons and Dragons. And if I remember correctly, and I think that I do, if I remember correctly, it was the result of a contest. I believe there was some kind of contest in the early 2000s, and it was created by... Now, it's interesting because people often refer to Eberron as fan-made, but I'm pretty sure Keith Baker was already making like role-playing game material. Yeah, it was pretty much spec work on that. So I think I remember it. I remember it coming out. I remember the contest. I remember there were a few other books that didn't get chosen, but they got made into books anyway. Like people made their own stuff after the fact. And it introduced a very interesting world. I often compare Eberron's tone to, like, if D&D has an innate tone that's somewhere in the vicinity of Lord of the Rings, or I don't even know. I don't think that's even true anymore. Dungeons and Dragons has its own core 50 like thing. This is different, right? It has its own core. Like it's got a group of things that make it Dungeons and Dragons, that make it like, these are the things that are true about D&D play. The interesting thing about Eberron is that I think it drifts some of that. It's not quite sword and sorcery. It does like some sort of noir. It does a little bit of like Lost World. It feels pulpier by a long shot than sort of your standard heroic Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I doubt very, very much, I doubt that the mechanisms of the game are going to shift, right? We're not going to get rules for doing, dramatic monologues, right? We're not necessarily going to get rules for tonal shifts in the mechanisms, but we will get rules for things like vehicles, right? We're going to see airships and trains. We're going to see all of the stuff that's easy to make in D&D. So to that degree, we got to know kind of what we're expecting. If there is a rule in the game that shifts it towards feeling more like film noir, I will be so impressed and so surprised. But I don't think we will, right? Yeah, kind of like John Carter, strange creatures, pseudo-mechanical, pseudo-magical tech, those sorts of things. So yeah, airships, trains, Dragonmarked, stuff that fits into D&D already. Despite the fact that I desperately want them to bring back psionics as like a separate thing, I don't think we're going to get those. I think that I will not get that in 5th edition D&D, unfortunately, but I want it. I think instead they'll just use the magic system, and that's how that'll be. But let's take a look at what we do have. So, looking at the tabs in the book, we have maps, right? We got maps of all these different locations, kind of like in the Ravnica book. We have an outpost, an ossuary, library vault, a war forge, right? We've got these maps for all of these things. We have a build your own train page, which that's cool. Lightning rail cars. We'll get to that. And then we have a world map, we have a continent map, and we have a token page. And the token page is all the unique monsters that show up in this book. It's cool that we have a Warforged Titan and we have stats for it, or Warforged Colossus, Warforged Titan. It's a shame that we don't have custom art for this Warforged Colossus. But that's okay. That's fine. I'm sure you can find your own scary robots. We'll get to the magic and the monsters in a little bit. So the way that these are laid out is a little different than what you might expect if you're looking at a book, right? The way that a Roll20 Marketplace module is laid out is there's a core kind of cover screen. Then we have our tokens page, and we have a bunch of maps, and then all of the chapters of the book. Chapters is the word I was looking for. They're all here in the journal, right? Set as GM only, and then eventually they'll also. And I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm looking at a slightly pre-release version. But if we look in the compendium, these things will turn up as part of both the compendium and as the Charactermancer down the line. So we get information about the module. This is all custom to Roll20, right? Like how it works, the scale of the various battle maps, which maps are scaled to what, how the various measurement tools work, settings for the game module, all within Roll20, any shortcuts, that it uses, and then rollable tokens and macros therein. The macros are always such a fun part of this, right? So you can roll for the table. These basically represent tables from within the game. But there are also tokens that we can use that are shapeshifters that have multiple facings that we can use, right? So here are the macros for the Dungeon Master. There's so many of them. I love them. Let's do a Falling in Sharn roll. I'm going to just grab this. I'm going to grab it straight out of here. We'll do it this way. Let's see if this works. A gargoyle or giant owl catches you, then threatens to drop you if it doesn't get a reward. Good. Fantastic. That's great. I'm good. And then I can find more information about falling off of things in Sharn. Yes, yeah, there are buttons. I was just already on that page. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah. So let's rather than like get distracted by cool things like macros and rollable tokens, let's just dig in and we'll see. So we have an adventure. I'm going to save that for the last, right? Forgotten Relics. Pretty much every like setting book or whatever comes with a little adventure to kind of help you get the themes and tones of the adventure of the game, right? Of the setting. I don't like or use them most of the time, but they can be good to look at them and say, what do you what do you expect me to do? What do you expect me to do with this setting, right? So let's start with Welcome to Eberron. Welcome to Eberron, everybody. So this book is a gateway to using Eberron as a setting for your D&D campaign. It guides players and the dungeon master through the process of creating characters and adventures set in this world. The introduction provides an overview of the world, its history, its calendar, and the themes that drive it. Okay, well, sure. That stuff is less interesting to me, but we'll look at the overarching stuff. Chapter 1 is character creation, offers race options and a new class, the Artificer. Presents group patrons, a new concept that adds a shared purpose to your party of adventurers. I wonder about that. I'm curious to see if your patron is just like a background option or if they have some mechanical effect, right? Is this a group background? What is patron, like what is a patron going to look like? Because so far with Descent into Avernus, I'm not... The shared crime thing, it doesn't come up in the adventure again. It comes up once, as far as I've seen, and then not again. So I'm hoping this is a little more in-depth. I think this helps more. Yeah. Chapter 2 is an overview of the nations of Corvair and beyond, the religions of Eberron, handy details if you're a player seeking inspiration for your character's backstory, or DM looking for an intriguing place to set an adventure. Okay. Chapter 3 is Sharn, City of Towers. Sharn is one of the wonders of Corvair and a source of endless adventure. Chapter 4 is ideas for adventures in Sharn and beyond. Chapter 5 includes magic items and treasure and includes the vital role of dragon shards. And then Chapter 6 is new monsters and NPCs drawn from the world of Eberron. I want there to be a Chapter 7 in books like these. I want there to be a Chapter 7 that's like, here is everything that we changed. Rules hacks, right? Drifts to the core rules. Like in Eberron, everyone gets 4 death saves. Or in the world of Eberron, magic is unpredictable. Every time anyone casts a spell, make an Arcana check. Or, you know, like I want that. I want rules hacks that represent the setting of the game. I want it to feel different that way, not just like, what does the GM describe to you? Yeah. Okay, so 7 things to know about Eberron. The last war has ended. The last war... Sort of. The last war plunged the continent of Corvair into civil war more than a century ago, shattering the 5 nations that made up the kingdom of Galifar. 2 years ago, the war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Thronehold, 12 recognized nations, and a tenuous peace. Okay. All right. The great Dragonmarked families are the barons of industry and commerce throughout Corvair and beyond. Their influence transcends political boundaries, and they remain mostly neutral during the last war. All right. Cool. Lens of intrigue. The war is over, but the nations of Corvair need to build an age of peace and prosperity. Ancient threats linger, and the world needs heroes to take up the cause. Nations compete over economic dominance, political influence, territory, magical power, and more. So it's like they're not actively at war, but they're still in competition with one another. A continent of adventure, from the jungles of Kabara to the blasted hills and valleys of the Demon Wastes, the skyscrapers of Sharn to the dinosaur-filled Talenta Plains. Eberron is a world of adventure. I should fucking hope so. Right? Like if it wasn't, why would Dungeons and Dragons be set here? The quest for the Mirror of the Seventh Moon might take heroes from a mountain shrine in Dargoon to a ruined castle in the Shadow Marches and finally to a dungeon deep below the Library of Korenberg. None of this is, yes. Okay. Thank you for those proper nouns. I will move on. The technology of Eberron is developed not through science, but magic. Airships and rail transport make rapid travel possible. A working class of minor mages called Mage Rights. Now this is interesting. Called Mage Rights use spells to provide energy and other necessities. Advancements in magic item creation have led to everything from self-propelled farming implements to sentient free-willed beings created in Artificers' forges. All right, so higher tech level than the rest of the settings that you might expect. Okay, all right. New races. So in addition to the common player character races found in the PHB, players can choose to play orc or goblinoid characters in Eberron. They can choose one of the 4 new races, changelings, Kalashtar, shifters, and warforged. Changelings have minor shape-changing abilities. Kalashtar are planar entities merged with human hosts. Shifters are human lycanthrope mix. And warforged are, we know warforged, right? Okay. D&D with a twist. Every race, monster, spell, and magic item has a place in Eberron, but it might not be the place you expect. Eberron is a unique spot in the D&D multiverse, and many familiar elements play different roles in the world. In particular, mortal creatures are products of culture and circumstance rather than the direct influence of the gods. As a result, you can't assume that a gold dragon is good. Oh my god, this means, oh, this is a big deal for Dungeons and Dragons in general. So, hold on. If Eberron's characters' alignment is defined by their culture and circumstances, and Eberron, because of that, is different from Dungeons and Dragons, that means that characters in Dungeons and Dragons' morality is directly derived from the gods, because Eberron's isn't. So alignment in Dungeons and Dragons is like, it's a thing. Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Right? Big if true. Yeah. So, yeah, as a result, only in the case of celestials, fiends, and certain other creatures whose identity and worldview are shaped by magic is alignment a given. So alignment in other settings, if you are evil, you're evil because the gods want you to be evil, but not in Eberron, right? Yeah, gold dragon can be evil, meaning, So in the Forgotten Realms, you can't choose your alignment. You can't choose to become, if you're evil, you're evil. Right? Unless the gods want you not to be evil anymore. Yeah. The exception that proves the rule, right? Because if this were true everywhere, they wouldn't need to say that Eberron is different. Right. In Eberron, you're evil because you're a jerk. Interesting. I like that. Okay. So I'm going to skip over this big block of stuff. We'll get to setting when we get to setting, right? Languages in Corvair. I don't really need to worry about this. It has its own calendar, which is great. The 7 days of the week are Sul, Mol, Zol, Weir, Zor, Far, and Sar. Okay. Good. And then it has its own months, but it looks like it's just, 7 days of the week, 12 months in the year. Copper crowns, silver sovereigns, gold Galifars, platinum dragons, and then a handful of other coins. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. And then this was the one I wanted to take a look at, right? So consider the following elements. Now, this is the game telling us that we are about something, right? This is saying this is what Eberron is about. But I don't know if the mechanisms of the game reinforce this, right? So we'll have to look at how it does that. So Eberron is a world of swashbuckling adventure. Whether you're a DM developing an adventure in the world or a player preparing to explore it, consider the following elements. Exotic locations, right? These are sort of principles for GMing in Eberron. So create exotic locations, lightning rails, airships, other forms of transportation, facilitate travel to exotic locations. The colossal ruins left by the giants of the Zendrick, the warped landscape of the Mornland, the dark demi-planes, and the underworld of Kyber. Even if you prefer to stay in town, there's Sharn. It's made out of mile-high towers, right? So make the locations exotic. When you are running Eberron, don't just be like, it's a regular ass tavern. Find a way to make even like a tavern exciting or interesting, right? Barforth Arcanalyptica. Yeah, so find ways to make it different from the D&D normal, right? Whatever D&D considers normal, this is exotic from that, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. But it's like, get a bit weird. Go a little high fantasy is what they're trying to get at here, I think. Remarkable heroes. Now, I don't know, does this imply that in other settings, the characters aren't remarkable? Like, Eberron is a world in need of heroes. Lingering tensions of war remain, from the fanatics of the Emerald Claw to the mad cults of the dragon below. Eberron faces many threats, and few people beside the player characters are able to stop them. The Great Druid is a tree. The few benevolent NPCs. Oh, I see. The Flamekeeper can't help because she can't leave her citadel. The Great Druid is a tree. Most of the powerful people in the world are selfish. If an angry dragon attacks Sharn, there's no one else to deal with the problem. So a bit like Dungeon World, there's no other wizard but you. You're the PCs. Yeah. There's no Elminster, which is interesting because there are definitely going to be like powerful entities, but there's no like Force Grey or no willing heroes. But then it's like, is that what the game is about? Like you are the only people willing to do what's right? In which case, are you not allowed to be evil? Consider a dynamic backstory when creating your character, which normally I guess you wouldn't do. You'd just be like, my character was the chosen one. Choosing your background, whether you take a background from the player's handbook or the house agent background, if you take the soldier background, you might have played a role in all of the events of the last few war. What did you do? What was your greatest triumph? This is all just like setting based. Think about what your character used to be. That's what background is. What's better than the battle on the deck of an airship? A battle on the deck of an airship that's about to crash. Always look for ways to raise the stakes of an Eberron scene so players feel like every decision matters. It's going to be driven by the consequences of failure. Could involve time. Such things can even be incidental. So, yeah, again, like this is saying like this is different about Eberron, but I feel like this is advice for any D&D game. Like raise up the stakes, right? So in Eberron, whatever you're doing, make it more unusual and higher stakes. Eberron is rich in villains, from 2-bit hoods to continental masterminds. Might be a long time before you're ready to face the sinister leader behind the Order of the Emerald Claw in battle, but part of the flavor in Pulp Adventure includes recurring villains who closely match the heroes, rivals who advance in power as they do. To create, look at this. Look, this is good. This is good advice. To create a compelling villain, the DM and players might develop a backstory together. The DM might ask the player, when you fought in the last war, Hallis Martain served in your unit until he betrayed you. What did he do exactly? Yeah, where was this advice when they made the Dungeon Master's Guide? This is great. Like, yes, you should do this. Eberron be damned. Like, do this shit all the time. Right? Likewise, when a pulp villain appears to die, they can devise remarkable escapes from death. Now, this is tricky, right? Like, that's a very delicate thing to do. I get that it's a genre trope, but that stuff is frustrating in a game like this, right? Aha, he had a ring of illusion, or he cast Featherfall, or I think the idea here is, here we go. It's Hallis Martain, all right. How do you think he survived your last encounter? I like that idea too. Like, how does he survive? You thought he was dead. What could he have done? But D&D is already pretty pulpy, so it's tricky, these genre things. And I kind of feel like mechanisms, right? Why not make this mechanical? Why not say, we made a new rule, right? We made a new rule and we created this rule to make it so that you have recurring villains. And what you do is whenever a villain dies, check the death clock, right? Yeah, check a slice of the clock. They've only got 8 lives left, right? So, and then come up with a pulpy way to describe each one getting filled in. That's just not D&D's design ethos. I know, and it kills me. Because that's what a setting book should do. That should shift the rules, the core rules of the game, to feel like the kind of story you want to tell. So high stakes, remarkable heroes, exotic locations, all of these, they're rules. They're already rules, right? Telling the player, as the Dungeon Master, do these things. But I want them to be rules that change the core mechanisms of the game, right? The fact that I could come up with a base idea for that in 10 seconds. Do it. Do it yourself, right? Come up with reasons mechanically to do this, right? So, for example, remarkable heroes, you could steal the one unique thing from 13th Age, right? Let your players describe one thing that sets them apart from everyone else, right? Throw that in the game. Include hero points that let you re-roll. Include stunt rules that give you advantage if you describe your character doing something super cool. Add in inspiration for pulp action, right? Doing things that are in genre gives you inspiration, right? Find another vector into that much maligned and unused rule. For villains, same way. Create ways for villains to do those things, right? So just like find mechanisms to enforce this stuff rather than just say, consider the following elements. Give me the rules. Give me the rules. That's what I want, right? For me, that's what makes a setting good and useful. So noir intrigue, right? Eberron draws inspiration from noir and hard-boiled fiction. Is there a list? There probably isn't. This is another thing. Like, I know what this sentence means. I know what noir and hard-boiled fiction are. But if you don't, this sentence is irrelevant, right? Yeah, give me an appendix. This is why Appendix N was so good, right? Like a page of just saying like, here are, the Wayfinder's Guide has that stuff. So maybe they copied it over, but yeah. Okay, so everyone has regrets. The regrets table, oh boy, provides a few examples of missteps that might haunt you. But is this a thing? Oh, as you consider, it's a flaw for the character. Add a little hard-boiled flavor. So it's regrets. It's regrets instead of flaw, right? You can just throw that in. Bonus flaws, yeah. But it's not even really a flaw. It's when you make your character maybe have a regret instead of a flaw. Why do you need 200 gold pieces, right? Maybe your character has a debt, right? Yeah, right? So meaningful ways to get access. I guess this is the pulp inspiration thing, right? Play to your character's pulpy regret. Attempt to resolve your character's pulpy debt. And then when you're thinking about characterization, the setting is, what are your personal motives? What are the universe is built on shades of gray, and you want to have characters that have something to lose. But again, these things, they're good and they're interesting in the sense of they help you understand what the setting is going for. But I like when it's less consider this and more do this. Like flat out throw out ideals, bonds, flaws, goals. Huck that shit. Take that, jam it in a ball, throw it in the garbage, and instead say all of the characters have regrets, debts, and personal motives, right? Give them that. Make that a part of the character sheet. Give me more custom mechanics, right? Yeah, why is your character drinking at 10 a.m. in their office waiting for the dame to come in? Yeah, right? Well, exactly. And that's the thing is you want mechanisms create narrative, right? So that's the thing. And yeah, if alignment doesn't matter in Eberron, it shouldn't be on the sheet. You can just throw it out. But they have this thing where it's like everything about Dungeons and Dragons has to fit into Eberron because of that thing, universal design. Yeah. Anyhow, so that's noir intrigue. We get a little bit of information about the Dragonmarked dynasties and mage rights, which we kind of read about before. They talk about the last war. This is all historical stuff about the Morning and the Mornlands. So this is all really useful information that on my first look at a book, I never read. Like I just don't, like this stuff is good, but it's like a second or third reading, not a first look. I do kind of glaze through looking for anything that might indicate mechanical change or might guide players to embody the concepts of the world, but mostly I skip this kind of stuff when I do. I do like this when making a character, think about this impact, because there is often this thing where like if you, for example, if you're playing a role-playing game set in New York and the characters were alive during 9/11, you would want to know where they would know where they were and they would have a personal story about it, right? So this is their tragedy, their big war tragedy. So when you make a character, think about the impact the morning had on you. Where were you? What were you doing? And then here's some ideas that are like class, as a barbarian, this could be a thing. As a sorcerer, this could be a thing, etc. Right? It's big enough that it warrants like, hey, if you're doing a campaign in Eberron, think about what this means, right? This event. I think that's important. Yeah. But again, it could be put into a table, right? And then Draconic Prophecy, which is the description of patterns hidden throughout the world that you can learn things about. It's the meta plot of the world, right? So that could be part of your game. Cool. Well, welcome to Eberron. I want to read the character stuff. I don't want to read chapter 2. Creatures and monsters. Where's chapter 1? Where is my chapter 1? I want to see like new character like races and stuff. It's got to be in here, right? Let's take a look. Friends and foes. Let's see. Because these are stat blocks based on... Yeah, it might end up in the compendium instead of in this section. Yeah. It's not in the setting game. Meaning like the one that we're in. Yeah. It might be that I have a preview version and that stuff is not in it yet, which would be weird. Let me look. Let me look for like Kalashtar. Oop. Nope. I don't need... Get out of here. Inspect element. It's only in the compendium. Oh, weird. Okay. So it's broken up. It doesn't have its own page. Well, that might make this a shorter first look than I thought if I don't have access to that stuff. Let me see if it's built in yet. And yeah, won't it just be a reskinned orc? I think some of them are like that. Yeah. Let's see here. I guess I could look up Artificer and see if I can find that. Nope. Let's see. Aha! Nope, we have a player art handout. Yeah. So maybe that's not in the yeah, maybe it's not in this version of it. Well, it's neat art anyway. That's cool. Well, that's kind of annoying. I wanted to look at that stuff. All right. Okay. Yeah, maybe this is why I got an early look at it. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going based on the preview version that I was given in Roll20, and that's how it is. So, orc, let me just double check and see if there's any information on. Yeah, it looks like I've got art, but not details yet. And if I go and try to create a new character, let me see here. Let's see if I have a choice in here. Oh yeah, so the options are in the Charactermancer. Okay, all right, so we can look at them in here because we have like Eberron Bugbear. Yeah, okay, so all that information is in here. So let's look. So Bugbear is our first option from this book, and Bugbears, let me make this a little bigger here. Get +2 strength, +1 dex. They're proficient in stealth. They can speak common and goblin. They get dark vision, long limbed. Whenever they make a melee attack, the reach is 5 feet greater than normal. Okay. Yeah, this looks mostly like the Valo one. Powerful build and surprise attack, which is useful. And then information about the various like lore stuff. Yeah. So Goblin, Hobgoblin, and Bugbear are all pulling from Valos. So let's jump down and take a look at Orc. See if that's in here. Yeah, Eberron Orc. There we go. All right. So there are 3 prominent groups of orcs: the Gashkala, the Jorashtar, And then half orcs and orcs that live in the shadow marches. They have a +2 strength and a +1 con. They have primal intuition, so proficiency in 2 skills. Dark vision, aggressive, so they can move their speed towards an enemy with a bonus action. Okay. And then, is there any difference between the Gash Kala, the Jorishtar, and the Shadowmarch orcs? Let's see. The Orc Gatekeepers defeated the Daleker, yada, 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 leaving the Shadow Marches. Okay, yeah, so not really any big difference here. You got your roll for that, and then that's it. Yeah, no sub races for orcs. Okay. So that's like fine. There isn't really anything all that interesting. Like aggressive is kind of neat. Getting to move your speed is a bonus action as long as you're moving into battle. I could see that being really useful. Yeah, it's like a buff of the other version of orc. So that's cool. Yeah, primal intuition's also kind of like okay. An orc bard would end up with all the skills in the game. And then what else we got? We got, oh yeah, all these shadow marked. Now, how do they do the shadow marks? Are they their own separate race? Because it looks like mark of detection, half elf. Oh, so you have to be of a certain race when you take a certain mark. Okay, so it's mark of detection, half elf. Mark of finding, half orc. Mark of handling, human. Mark of making, human. Mark of passage, human. Sentinel, human, and then storm, half elf. Okay, all right. So those are the options for player character races. Okay, but let's keep going down the list, right? Bugbears we looked at. Let's look at changelings. So changelings are +2 charisma, 2 of the following skills, and then the shape changer ability. So when you shape change, you change your appearance and your voice. You determine the specifics of your changes. You can adjust your height and weight, but not so much that your size changes. You can appear to be a member of another race, though none of your game statistics change. You can't duplicate the appearance of a creature you've never seen. You must adopt a form that has the basic same arrangement of limbs. So it's like the disguise self spell, right? But lasts longer and doesn't, it's not susceptible to dispel magic. Yeah, exactly. It's not an illusion. You're physically changing, but the parameters otherwise are pretty much the same. Clothing and equipment are not changed. Yeah. Okay. So you gotta disguise and alter your changes to yourself. Yeah. Okay. Do they still have the divided persona thing? I don't know. Hidden people, masks and personas. So in their true form, they're pale with colorless eyes and silver white hair. It's rare to see them, for a typical changing changes their shape. Others might change clothes. A casual shape is called a mask. A mask can be used to express a mood or specific purpose that might never be used again. However, many changelings develop identities that have more depth. They build an identity over time. Yeah, okay. So that personas can be shared by multiple changelings. There might be 3 healers in a community, but whoever's on duty will adopt the personality of Tech, the kindly old medic. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that. So it's like they, the person that is embodying that persona today might not be the same person as was yesterday. That would be so interesting. That's such a big, like, can you imagine playing somebody who grew up in a community like that and then had to figure out how to be an individual? Yeah. And it's what? Charisma and then one other stat at +1? Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and so it's +2 charisma, any other stat +1. And then the 2 proficients, any 2 languages, and deception, insight, intimidation, and persuasion. Any of the 4 of those. Yeah, okay. Cool. What else we got? Goblins, which we talked about. I think they're the same as Ravnica. Yeah, Fury of the Small, Nimble Escape. Yeah, bugbears, hobgoblins, goblins. That goblin's got a gun. I guess this means there's guns in the equipment chapter now, or maybe there was before. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, all right. So that's goblins. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. Hobgoblins we talked about. Goblins. Yeah, and then we have all these mark. Let's see how the dragon marks work. So they're variants. So you could be a half elf with the mark of detection. And if you are a half elf with the mark of detection, then your wisdom is increased by 2. One other ability score goes up by 1. When you make an intelligence or insight check, investigation or insight check, you get to add a d4. Yeah, we'll come back and look at the Kalashtar. They're in order. You can cast Detect Magic and Detect Poison and Disease with this trait. Starting at 3rd level, you can also cast the See Invisibility spell. Once you cast any of these, you got to do a long rest. Okay. And then Spells of the Mark. If you have the spell casting or the pact. Oh, this is like Ravnica, right? This is the table from the guilds from Ravnica. Yeah. So if you have spell casting and the mark of detection, these automatically become part of your list. In addition, you get Fey Ancestry and Dark Vision from being a half elf. Got it. Okay. All right. So that's detection. Let's take a look. So finding is a half orc. So you get Hunter's Mark. Oh, interesting. Hunter's Mark is a racial ability. Hunter's Intuition, Perception, and Survival. So that's what it looks like. It looks like spells, auto cast, right? Spells, magic you can cast on your own, and then one special ability that adds d4s to each one. Okay. All right. So that's Mark of Finding. Let's look at. I'm going to look at all of them. Mark of Finding Human will be the same abilities. Mark of Handling. So this is Hunter's Wild Intuition, so animal handling and nature. And then Animal Friendship and Speak with Animals. Target a beast or monstrosity with Animal Friendship or Speak with Animals, and then you'll get spells of the mark. So Animal Friendship, Speak with Animals, Beast Sense, Calm Emotion. Okay, all right. So that's you're a human. Okay. Mark of Handling, Mark of Making. The mark of making is Artisan's Tools, Arcana Check, or Tools, D4. So you're blessed, basically, for those. Mending. So when you do, it lasts an hour and doesn't require concentration. And then you get Identify, Tensor's Floating Disc, Continual Flame, Magic Weapon, Conjure Barrage, Elemental Weapon. Okay, yeah, all right. So that's the mark of making. Mark of Passage, Human. Gives you acrobatics or any ability check to operate or maintain a land vehicle. All right. Dex +2, courier speed. So you get 35 feet for your base speed. It's interesting. And then Misty Step is your trait spell. And you get Expeditious Retreat, Jump, Misty Step, Pass Without Trace, Blink, Phantom Steed, all the way up to Teleportation Circle. Right, okay. And then Sentinel and Storm. So Sentinel is this badass lady. So Sentinel, you are a human. You get Insight and Perception. Wow, that's fucking useful. You get Shield once. The ability to cast it after you cast a long rest. When a creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swap places, and you can get hit instead. Okay. And then if you can cast spells, you get Compelled Duel, Shield of Faith, Warding Bond, Zone of Truth, Counterspell. So it's weird because they're like classes, sort of. Like you can clearly see how they link up with other, like Mark of the Sentinel with Paladin or with Fighter. Like, yeah, right. Sentinels are like tanky. They take hits for other people. Yeah, combine it with like a Cavalier or something. Yeah. Yeah. Weird that they made them races, though. And then if you're a half elf with the Mark of the Storm, you get a sick beard, and a globe, and claws. No, I don't know about that. You get dexterity, acrobatics, or navigator's tools. You're resistant to lightning damage. You know, the gust cantrip. And then you can cast a bunch of like featherfall, fog cloud, gust of wind, etc. Yeah. Okay, and those are the ones. Yeah, it matches with the lore. Dragonmarks are familiar traits. Yep. Yeah. So you pass them on to your children. And it looks like those are the options. Yeah, I don't see any Dragonmark Elf of Shadow. I'm sure that there are a few that people are missing. But yeah, these are the ones that I have access to. I assume those are the ones that are in the final book as well. Yeah. Okay, so we don't want to miss the Kalashtar. So the Kalashtar are, this is badass art. I love this cool Kalashtar lady. So Kalashtar have compound spirits, right? Humans and then Quori, like within them, weird space aberrants. And then let's see, you get, as a result, you have nightmares, you have this alternate universe creature trying to like tell you what to do. What do you get as traits? You get wisdom saves, you get advantage on all of those. That's pretty fun. You are resistant to psychic damage. Yeah, you're Dax, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you have resistance to psychic damage and advantage on wisdom saves. Those are both pretty damn good. You have a telepathic link to any creature you can see, up to feet equals to 10 times your level. And then let's see, they sleep, but they don't connect to dream. They are immune to the sleep spell and magical effects that require you to dream, but not to spells that put you to sleep, like sleep. There you go. So anything related to dreams, you can fall asleep, but dream-related magic won't do anything for you. There's a half dozen new sub-races. Yeah, that's what we were looking at, right? The Dragonmarked. And then this is the quirks table, right? This is your own personal quirk as related to your Dalquor like thing inside you. Yeah. So let me check. Yeah, let's check the other races to see if there's any. Oops, no, I think this is just the elf from the player's handbook, though. I think this is just, this is just the default elf. When do you choose sub race for this? Is it it's on the next step, right? Like if we made down here. Okay. Yeah, Mark of Shadow Elf. There it is. Okay. So you have to make your character first, and then there are some additional sub races. So this is where that Mark of Shadow Elf is. So it's weird that it's two separate things. Why isn't it just, that's very strange to me that it's Mark of Shadow Elf, but there's also a Mark of Handling Human as I guess it's for races that don't have sub races already. Yeah, that must be the way that it's implemented. Yeah, like half orcs. Yeah, that must just be the thing. So, okay, so there are some other sub races within the normal ones. So elf is one of them. Let's see what they get. They get the D4 bonus to performance and stealth. And then they get minor illusion. And then they get spells of the mark, which are disguise self, silent image, darkness, pass without trace. Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So it replaced the subclass where it was possible. And then otherwise it's okay. All right. That's fine. So let me see. Maybe there's some other ones. Let's look at humans. Subrace. We got standard, variant, and that's it. Okay. How about gnomes? Yeah, here we go. Mark of Scribing, right? Mark of Scribing gnome. He's angry. So history and calligrapher's supplies, and then the message cantrip. And then spells of the mark are comprehend languages, animal messenger, arcane eye. Yeah, okay. All right. And then gnomes and halflings, I think both have marks as well. So halflings and dwarves. So dwarves have the mark of warding. Okay. Mark of warding, which boosts your intelligence, gives you investigation and thieves tools, and then alarm, mage armor, and then all of these spells. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, so you would be a dwarf, I guess to speak of for like dwarf cleric or maybe dwarf wizard. Like you're a lock picker and lock maker. Yeah, Armor of Agathis is on that first level spell list. It's weird. I like this way of mixing up spell lists. I liked it in Ravnica. I like it here too. And then we got halflings that get Mark of Healing or Mark of Hospitality. So Mark of Healing gives you +1 wisdom, medicine and herbalism, cure wounds. Whoa, that's cool. So the Mark of Healing halfling, no matter what class you are, now you can cure wounds. You can bring people back. That's a helpful ability. That's quite good, yeah. And then you get a bunch of healing spells. Wow. So if you're a sorcerer or warlock or a wizard, now you're casting Cure Wounds, Prayer of Healing, Lesser Restoration. That's nuts. That's very cool. Yeah, halflings always get the best shit. In addition to lucky, brave, and halfling nimbleness too. But you got to play a halfling. And then Mark of Hospitality. Probably less fun. Persuasion. Permanent. That's pretty good. A permanent D4 on persuasion checks. And this stacks with things like guidance, right? And then Innkeeper's Magic. You can purify food and drink, prestidigitate, and unseen servant. And then Goodberry, sleep, aid, calm emotions, create food and water, etc. So more like flavor stuff, less like being a baller adventurer. Yeah. Cool. Cool. All right. I think that's it for new, we gotta look at Warforged. Let's see if they've changed them at all. So Warforged, it's con +2, any other stat +1. Oh yeah, we didn't. Yeah, thank you. Shifters. We got to look at them too. 1 skill proficiency and 1 tool proficiency. 1 language. You have advantage on saves versus poison. Resistance to poison damage. Don't need to eat, drink, sleep. Eat, drink, or breathe. Immune to disease. Don't need to sleep. Magic can't put you to sleep. Okay. When you take a long rest, you spend 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state. Your body has defensive layers, which can be enhanced with armor. You get a +1 to armor class. You can only don armor with which you have proficiency. To don armor, you must incorporate it into your body over the course of 1 hour, during which you may remain in contact. To doff armor, you must spend an hour to remove it. You can rest while donning or doffing armor this way. While you live, your armor can't be removed from your body against your will. And that is it. So I gotta say, based on the Wayfinder Warforged, I think this is the correct way to go about this. I think that 8's armor class was too high. I think it was not balanced properly. This feels more balanced to me, especially at low levels. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. How does that work with heat metal? I don't know. Burns you? Okay, yeah, painfully. Exactly. All right. And then shifters, right? Shifters is our other one. So let's take a look at them. Okay, so shifters. That's what a shifter looks like. So let's see. They don't shift. They don't shape change into like animals. They change into like a bestial form. Yeah, humanoids with a bestial aspect. They don't fully change shape, but they enhance their animalistic features. Yeah, so they become more like animal, quarter like anthropes. So there are 4 subraces: beast hide, long tooth, swift stride, and wild hunt. So let's see what that looks like. Your base shift, as a bonus action, you assume a bestial appearance. You gain temporary hit dice or temporary hit points equal to your level plus your con mod, plus an additional bonus. Beast hide, your con gets up by 2. Oh, I see. So we choose them. So your stats are beast hide is 2 con, 1 strength, proficient in athletics, and while you're shifted, 1d6 additional temporary hit points and a +1 bonus to AC. Okay. Long tooth is bonus to fangs to make an unarmed attack, 1d6 plus your strength mod. See, this seems on its own, this seems super weak and crappy, right? Like having, I guess if you ever lose your weapons and you're not a spellcasting class or something, these kind of like bite attacks or claw attacks always just seem so like what's the benefit of this ability? It's like if you really, really need something to use your bonus action on. I've never really seen these as being all that valuable. Yeah, like it's a bonus attack early on, but later, like you're gonna use those bonus actions for better stuff. You know, like this attack for a rogue is like pointless, basically. Yeah, and it's not magical and it doesn't really scale. So yeah, it might be useful in the first 3 levels, but yeah, fighter with a shield because it doesn't take a free hand. You can just bite somebody, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's the advantage. You bite them so you can have both hands full. If you are a swift stride shifter, you get 10 additional feet of walking distance, and you can move up to 10 feet as a reaction when a creature. That's awesome. That's so much better than biting people. What the hell? So much better. Bonus of 10 feet, and anyone who ends their, if a creature ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to move 10 feet and not provoke an attack of opportunity. That's way better. Yeah. Than getting a bonus action attack with your teeth. Yeah. I think this is the strongest one of those 3 for sure. What's the wild hunt one? While shifted, advantage on wisdom checks, and no creature, this is new, no creature within 30 feet of you can make an attack roll with advantage against you. So you are immune to backstab or whatever, sneak attack. No creature within 30 feet of you can make an attack roll with advantage against you. Huh. Yeah, even when you're prone, totally negates pack tactics. Well, doesn't sneak attack mean you can't sneak attack? Oh, it's if you have disadvantage. Counters reckless attack completely. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty juicy for sure. Sneak attack requires advantage or an adjacent enemy and doesn't work if you have disadvantage. That's what I was thinking. It just cancels out advantage. Yeah, it's very powerful. These things are so like wildly different in terms of power too. 1d6 extra hit points is 1d6 extra hit points and +1 AC versus No creature gets no creature within 30 feet of you can make an attack roll with advantage. And now advantage on wisdom checks means like skill checks, but not saving throws, right? Yeah. So insight, perception. I guess it depends on the build, but yeah. Right. 1d6 plus AC is worth it early on, but pretty useless later. Yeah. Tracking. You have survival proficiency already, so. Yeah. Interesting. And that's shifters. So let's take a look then. Let's go right from shifters to, let's take a look at the class and subclass options. So I'm just going to pick a regular boring ass variant human. Because I'm not actually making a character. We just want to get to the next section. Here we go. All right. So Artificer, obviously is the big change, right? So what does Artificer do here? So we get, I wish I had a page for Artificer that I could just look at I'm sure there's going to be one added later on, even if there isn't necessarily one right now that I can see, but I might just be missing it. But yeah, like let's look down here and see what we got access to in the this business here. So, okay. We got simple weapon proficiency. Because it's not pronounced Artificer. Is it? Artificer? Artificer? Kilometer? Kilometer? Anyway. It's Artifice, but I think they're both valid. Yeah. Okay, so Artificer. Arcana, investigation. You get 2 skills: Arcana, history, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, sleight of hand. Okay. It might be because I'm Canadian. It's Artificer. Yeah. Artificer. Fuck, now I'm all confused. Anyway, Artie. So you get magical tinkering as your main ability. So what does magical tinkering do? I don't care about any of this crap. Here we go. Here we go. If you use the rules for firearms and you've been exposed to the operation of them, your Artificer is proficient with them. Magical tinkering. Invest a spark of magic into a mundane object. You must have tinker's tools or other artisan tools. You then touch a tiny non-magical object and give it one of the following properties. It's a 10-foot lamp. You tap it and it emits a message. Continuously emits your choice of an odor or non-verbal sound. Static effect appears on one of the object's surfaces. This lasts forever. You've studied the workings of magic and how to channel it through objects. You've gained the ability to cast spells. You produce your spells through your tools. You must have a spellcasting focus, thieves' tools, or some kind of artisan's tools in hand when you cast a spell. After you gain the infuse item feature, you can also use any item bearing one of your infusions as a spellcasting focus. Okay. You know 2 0-level cantrips. You have spell slots. You prepare the list of Artificer spells up to your intelligence modifier plus half your level rounded down. Okay. You change your spells when you do a long rest. And use intelligence as your spellcasting ability. Okay. Okay. So at second level, you can start to infuse. So you pick 4 infusions to learn. Whenever you gain a level, you can change another one. Whenever you finish a long rest, touch a non-magical item and imbue it with an infusion, turning it into a magical item. Your infusion remains indefinitely, but when you die, it vanishes after a number of days. You can infuse more than one at the end of a long rest. The maximum number appears in the items column. You must touch each of the objects, and each one can only be in one object at a time. Right. So what do those infusions look like? Is that list here? I might pick that next, I guess. Infuse item. Infusion's known. I guess that you get it when it's level 2. Yeah. Okay. At level 3, you're either an alchemist, artillerist, or battlesmith. At level 3, you magically create artisans. Oh, it takes an hour. Okay. So if you ever get separated from your tools, you can create more. You get ability score increases. You get tool expertise. At level 7, you get a flash of genius. Whenever you or another creature makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to add your intelligence modifier to the roll. That's cute. Duck. Yeah, that's kind of neat. Use your reaction to add. Now, it doesn't have counterspell synergy because you have to use your reaction to do it. And then you have to use your reaction to cast counterspell. So you couldn't do both. But you could help somebody make a save using your intelligence modifier. Yeah. Yeah, team up with the bard. But yeah, that's right. Help somebody else counterspell. That's great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Jump in and backseat other people's ability checks or saving throws. Yeah, okay. When you get to level 10, you can attune 4 items. When you craft an item with common or uncommon, it takes a quarter of the time and half as much gold. At 11th level, you can store a spell in an object. And then while you're holding it, they can cast it from that object. Okay. And that's cool. Right. And then magic item savant, you can now attune 5 items. So that's a big deal, right? Scaling attunement limits. And then 6 items at level 18. So many magic items. You're 2 characters worth at that point. And then at level 20, oh, this is cool. Look, at level 20, you get a +1 bonus to all your saving throws per item you're attuned to. So your network of items gives you bonuses. So it's like I have 6 magic items, so I'm at +6 to all my saving throws. And if you are reduced to 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to end an infusion, causing you to drop to 1 instead of 0. So theoretically, you have as many infusions, but as diminishing return saving throw or coming back to saves. Yeah, is a death save a saving throw? I don't think that it is, but Jesus, a +6 to death saves is insane. It is? What? That's ludicrous. So you would have to roll a 4. You'd have to roll a 4 or worse to fail a death save. You're right, because monks become proficient in it later on. It is level 20, but like, that's pretty serious, yeah. You can still roll a 1, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, 3 or worse. So basically, you have to roll a 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts. At level 20, barbarians can't die. That's not true. There are ways to kill them. Interesting. Yeah, but again, level 20, like, that's how it goes. And then we have our 3 subtypes. I wonder if these are prepared. Yeah, okay. So the alchemist version of this is you have certain spells prepared, right? So here's your alchemy spells. And then at 3rd level, you can make an experimental elixir. Roll on the experimental elixir for its effects, which are triggered when someone drinks them. You can make random potions. Okay, so the potions are a healing potion, 2d4 plus your int modifier. It's swiftness, increases by 1 for increase your speed by 10. Okay. Resilience. Yeah, this is the kind of macro you'd want to add to your character sheet because you're going to roll this a fair amount. +1 AC, D4 for all attack rolls. Oh, a blessing potion, a flying potion, and then a transformation potion. So alter self. Okay. All right. Alchemical savant. Whenever you heal, you cast a spell using your alchemical supply, you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell. That roll must restore hit points or deal acid, fire, necrotic, or poison damage. And the bonus is your int modifier. Okay. All right. And then restorative reagents just makes your shit better. You can cast lesser restoration without expending a spell slot. And then chemical mastery at level 15, resistance to acid and poison damage and immune to being poisoned. You can cast greater restoration and heal without expending a spell slot. Whoa. Once per long rest. Wow. Free use of the heal spell once per long rest. That is a lot. Yeah. Heal spell 70 hit points. You just flat out just gain 70 HP. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty strong. You can do that once per long rest without using any of your other spells or anything like that. Yeah. Let's take a look at the artillerist. Artillerist here. Okay. So an artillerist specializes in using magic to hurl energy, projectiles, and explosions on a battlefield. You gain proficiency in woodcarver's tools. You gain certain spells prepared, such as Thunderwave, Shatter, Fireball, Ice Storm, Cone of Cold. All make sense. At level 3, you learn how to make a cannon. So at level 3, you learn how to make a magical cannon. You use woodcarver and smith tools to magically create a small or tiny eldritch cannon in an unoccupied space. Once you create a cannon, you can't do it again until you have a long rest. You can only have one at a time. It's a magic object. It has AC 18, 5 times your hit points in level, or 5 times your level in hit points. Immune to poison, psychic, and all conditions. It's forced to make an ability check. It has 10s and everything. You determine its appearance and whether or not it has legs. How heavy is it? How heavy? Where did I miss that? I have size, but I don't, because like, can you just make a tiny one and carry it around? You don't carry it, but I can. Why would I not be able to carry it? Let's see. Occupies, yeah, exactly. Tiny one can be held in hand. Unoccupied space on a horizontal surface within 5 feet of you. It can be held in one hand. So you should be able to carry it, right? So it's a one-handed, it's a gun. It's either a gun or a like larger one that can walk around. So when you create the cannon, you determine its appearance, whether it has legs. On each of your turns, it can take a bonus action to activate it within 60 feet. As part of the same bonus action, you can make it walk or climb 15 feet, provided it has legs. So it's either a flamethrower, a force ballista, or a protector, and you use your bonus action to activate it. So if it's a gun, you could shoot a cone of fire every turn with a bonus action and still cast spells and do other shit with your other action. Or you make it bigger and it can like walk around and you can make it do other shit like, yeah, force ballista or protector or whatever. Yeah. Interesting. Would I allow any of the Court of Swords players to choose this? Yeah, there are definitely artificers in the Court of Coins. Yeah, 100%. There definitely are. Yeah. It's a better spiritual weapon. Yeah. But you can also attack it. You can kick it over and, blow it up. It takes AoEs, that kind of thing. Yeah. There probably used to be some in the Court of Wands too. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Arcane firearm. So you can turn a wand, staff, or rod into a conduit for your spells. You can use the arcane firearm as a special. Oh, I see. Cool. Whenever you cast a damage roll through it, you add, oh, that's so cute. So like if you make an arcane firearm, then you cast magic missile through it, and then your magic missile deals 3d4 plus 3 plus a d8, right? The extra d8 coming from the firearm. Yeah, neat. That's cool. Good reason to disarm someone of their gun because it's dealing more damage. They can still cast it with their other tools, but okay. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it applies to one missile. Yeah, it does an extra DS. Yeah. At 9th level, your Eldritch Cannon increases in damage. You can make it blow up. Oh, so you're Torbjorn. You make turrets. Okay. And then at 15th level, your Eldritch Cannon can create cover. Eldritch Cannon as well as a shimmering field of magical protection. You can also have 2 cannons at the same time. There's your dual wield, right? You can activate both of them with the same bonus action. Yeah, so you get 2 attacks and then something else you can do. And now at level 15, your cannons are dealing 3d8 force damage. If it's a ballista, 3d8 fire damage. So they're not great for damage. They don't scale up that much. They can do different things with that same bonus action. Yeah, you can activate both of them with the same bonus action. You can decide whether they are identical to each other or different. So you could theoretically have a flamethrower and a force ballista. Pow, pow, pow. Can you dispel magic on them? Yeah. Cannon's a magical object. I'd allow you to dispel them. Yeah. Right, 2 times 3d8 is roughly what a barbarian does with each attack action that level. Yeah, okay. Sure. So that's that one. And then lastly is the battlesmith. So the battlesmith, which I guess is this person, and their robot dog. Robot dog. Okay. Let's see what else they do. Smith's tools. They get heroism, shield. They're like a buff character, right? Heroism, shield, branding smite, warding bond, aura of vitality, aura of purity, banishing smite, mass cure wounds. Combat training at level 3 gives you proficiency in martial weapons. Oh, they're like a hybrid fighter, kind of fighter version of this. Okay. When you attack with a magic weapon, you use your intelligence modifier for attack and damage. Also, is that Matt Mercer? It's like a shifter version of Matt Mercer. Okay, all right. And then you get your Steel Defender, right? There's your doggo. Shares your initiative count, but takes its turn immediately after yours. Oh my God, the Steel Defender is a better animal companion than the Ranger's animal companion. So you're attacking with your big brain. You're summoning an animal companion. It goes after you in the initiative order. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action. Oh, here we go. Unless you take a bonus action to command it to take an action in its stat block or dash, disengage, help, hide, or search. So it only dodges unless you bonus action command it to do something on the next turn. Okay. All right. Interesting. If the mending spell is cast on it, it heals. If it's died within the last hour, you can revive it. At the end of your long rest, you can create a new defender if you have your tools with you. If you already have a Steel Defender, the first one perishes. Got it. You get an extra attack at 5th level. Yeah, it's a pretty good tank if it just auto dodges and stands in front of you, right? And then Arcane Jolt. You can, when you hit a target, you can either deal 2d6 force damage or arc that 2d6 and heal someone within 30 feet. Whenever you make a magic weapon attack or your steel defender hits a target. Wow. Oh, okay. You can use this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, but do so no more than once a turn. Yeah, Arcane Jolt seems stupid good. Because like force damage is hard to come by something that resists it, and that arcing heal is pretty cool. Yeah. And then improved defender, your damage and healing of jolt get better. +2 bonus to AC, like flat bonus. Whenever your steel defender uses its deflect attack, the attacker takes 1d4. Okay, so where are the steel defender stat blocks? Is that like a separate monster? Yeah, let's look at those. Generic NPCs, adventure only NPCs. I'll just search for it. Iron Defender. But not the steel defender. If I click where it says defender here, it's going to take me to the +3 longsword. Yeah, I'm not sure where the stat is for. Yeah, Iron Defender was the name in the previous UA version. So let's see. I don't think it had a stat block. Yeah, but it says like, let me see what it says here. So Battlesmiths can have a steel defender or a protective companion of their own creation. I know there's a second defender link. It's going to go to the same place. They both go to the same link right now. I differentiate them. Steel for artificers, iron for general purpose. Steel defender. It's all the same thing, right? Statistics leads to monster stats. It reads any reference that matches the name of a page. So we're not going to be able to link out of it unless the link says steel defender, which it doesn't in this case. Yeah, I'm not sure where the stat block for this thing is supposed to be. In the steel defender stat block, it's supposed to be called steel defender. So let me just look in the tokens page. Steel defender, are you in here somewhere? Changeling, Bone Knight, Shifter. I don't see it. Yeah, weird. Right? Iron, but not, yeah. And the iron one doesn't have the that ability that it said, the deflect ability or whatever. Right? So yeah, I'm not sure. It may need to be added. We might just be looking at, yeah, we just got to use a Warforged Colossus if that's the case. Yeah, I'm not sure where the stats are for this thing. Let me do one more quick look in here. They're probably in I assume they would be in the chapter section, right? Like, let me do one more check in the compendium. Did you find it, Mads? Where is it? It's in a strange place. Okay. You want to help me? You want to help me try to find it? It's funny. You'd think that it would just be in there right away, but yeah, let me see here. Friends and foes, named creatures. Oh, it's just like buried in a weird place in the book, but it hasn't been added to Roll20 yet. Okay. All right. I think I have like a working file that I can at least look at off screen. Let me check. Okay, let's see here. Just want to know the stats of my little iron friend. There's my working file. What do we have here? Steel defender.